You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back, Charleston, as the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. We just finished the first half of the show talking about real estate investing. I gave a lot of information there, and I know that could be fairly overwhelming, but the only step that you need to take if you're interested is to just contact me for more information. Get started, put one step forward toward investing in real estate and building your financial wealth in real estate. So feel free to give me a call, 843-400-8009, 843-400-8009. Send me a text. I'll give you a copy of all of those giveaways that I was telling you about, the 101 steps to flipping a property, the must-dos and the should-dos of flipping a property, the ultimate beginner's guide to investing in real estate. I'm happy to send all of that to you. So 843-400-8009 is the phone number. Listingsincharleston.com is the website. Or if you prefer to send an email, Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at brianbeattyteam.com is my email address. So I want to switch gears, and I want to talk about the sellers out there that are obviously feeling, the sellers that have felt the shift in the market, because it has happened. In some areas, it's, of course, still developing. It's a little tough to pin down. It's a little tough to quantify. But make no mistake about it, our market is changing. Inventory is going up. And what I mean by that is supply is still increasing, but the demand for that supply at the prices they are hitting the market at is going down. Here's really the trend, and this I've mentioned this on this program before, and I know some listen every week, and so forgive me for reiterating this, but for those of you that don't, here's really the issue. Properties are continuing to hit the market at higher prices than what homes are currently selling for. You know, we're kind of putting properties on the market, banking on appreciation, continued appreciation. Hey, prices are still going up, so let's overprice the property so that, you know, the demand is kind of in line with this increase in pricing. You know, they're going to overpay for it if they really like it. So what's happening is prices are leveling off. You know, in many areas, they are flat. In some areas, they are going down. Yet we have these properties hitting the market that are still listing for more than the last property that hit the market listed for. You know, John and Sue put their home on the market for $475. Mine's nicer. I'm going to put mine on for $489. The next neighbor puts theirs on for $500, and then the next thing you know, you've got a collection of homes in a neighborhood that are mostly overpriced, and they're just sitting there. And so somebody then takes a step to price correct or do something to their house, you know, take the bull by the horns and get their home sold. And then, of course, everybody says, well, they just gave their home away. They gave up. You know, they screwed us. And that's not the case. And I know that, and so again, one of the things I love about being on this program and having this program, which I've been going on for almost 7 years now, is that it really does allow me the opportunity to be authentic with you, straightforward with you. You know, anybody that's worked with me knows that I'm a straight shooter. I'm not brash. I just, you know, there's enough BS in this world and in this industry, and you don't want me to be another one of those people. You want me to tell it like it is, help you develop some realistic expectations about this process and about this market so that you can win, so that you can get your home sold, so that you can buy that house and move in and start to raise a family or whatever it is. But the challenge that I think so many people have when they've had their home on the market and it's not selling is the go-to for real estate agents is, hey, just lower the price, lower the price, lower the price. And that's all they hear. And they're not being explained, well, why? Why should I lower my price? That's all I've heard from you for the last 4 months is, hey, we just need to lower the price again. Agents aren't really doing a very good job of explaining why in many areas of this industry as they represent their clientele. And there are plenty of times in which lowering the price is the right move. In fact, I would say that the majority of the time it is a price-based issue, but not always. And there are certain things that you can do that are outside of the box that are not just, hey, lower the price. Okay, we're going to do another 2% price reduction. You know, it's kind of like you're just trying to chip away at it rather than go for it sometimes. And so what are some of those things that you can do? Well, for us, what's worked really well is offering concessions. What I mean by that is offering a percentage toward the buyer's closing costs, or to buy down their interest rate when interest rates were a little higher last year. They're pretty darn low now, so that's not really a huge incentive for buyers at the moment. But offering closing costs could be a huge incentive if they're also looking at something like new construction. You know, you can go to these new construction communities, and if you work with their preferred lender, which is usually just a mortgage company that the builder owns, and their preferred closing attorney, they'll pay your closing costs. So if you're losing out buyers to new construction, then you have to match or improve upon those incentives. The other part here that is really kind of a struggle for a lot of people is I don't know what to do to my house to make it more attractive. Do I just sell it as is and account for that in the pricing? Do I stage my home if I've already moved out? Do I declutter it and put a lot of time into painting it and beautifying it if I'm living here? What repairs should I make? What repairs should I not make? Should I renovate the house to sell it for more money? You know, I know my kitchen's dated. Should we put in granite countertops and a tile backsplash? The question is kind of, where do you stop? Where do you start? Where do you stop? And so as it relates to condition, let me touch on that for a little while. When the market was hotter than it is now, this time last year, certainly this time in 2017, you didn't have to do as much to sell the house. Just being honest. There were plenty of times in which we would put a property on the market and we would start our long checklist of marketing activities. And before we got to, 10% of them, we had people calling us saying, hey, we just saw the sign go in the yard. The neighbor let us know, and they know that we were looking for a property in this neighborhood. Can we come and see it? And boom, we'd sell a house in a day. And we were doing that consistently. And if you look at our numbers on my team, it literally maps out this way. These are real numbers. A third of our homes that we list sell in a week or less. Another third sell within 30 days. And then the remaining third sell in more than 30 days. Because we sell all types of properties, everything from the first-time home seller to, multi-million-dollar properties. And so obviously multi-million-dollar properties, if I were to go in and say, hey, we're going to sell this thing in 3 days, they'd be like, wow, how much of a discount do you think I'm actually going to give these people? Because that's not real. But anyways, as it relates to condition, when we list a property, there are two major things that I think can really help. And this is assuming that you're living in the house. The first is a staging consultation. We get a professional decorator and designer through that house, and as she's walking through it, she's going through room by room and saying, here are the things that you should do. Here are the things that you can do. And then here are the things that I wouldn't worry about. And it's really a relief for sellers when they have that consultation, just to be able to know what to do, to have some orders, to say, hey, just do these things, just do them. And I promise you it will help. And by the way, I have not had an issue a single time in which I had a stager / decorator come through a house and then not sell it. We're batting 1,000. And she's awesome. She makes our listings look great. And I pay for it. So it's a pretty nice little service for you guys. But the other thing we do is that we'll have a pre-listing home inspection for the homes that we know are going to have some issues that we need to uncover and we need to get ahead of, because that helps with negotiability in the back end. The reason we do that is because if we can identify those issues, we can control how much it's going to cost to fix them. If we're waiting for the buyer to do their home inspection, they're going to come at us with what is ultimately going to be a number that is higher than what you could pay to get it fixed yourself. Because the buyer's going to have a contractor go through. If the buyer's contractor knows that you're footing the bill, they're not going to do you any favors. They're not going to say, oh, well, you know what? Let's give these folks a nice little discount. They're not going to do that ever. So control the process. We help you do that by getting a free pre-listing home inspection done. But But let's switch to, renovating to sell. Is that a good idea? The answer in 99.9% of the cases is no. Unless you're trying to treat your property as an investment property. It does not make sense to put granite countertops on old cabinets. It does not make sense to put a $40,000 new kitchen in a $250,000 house. There are little things we can do here and there. If the carpet is old and stained, yes, let's replace the flooring. And I am now shifting toward having sellers, if they have the ability to financially, and I know that some people don't, but if they have the ability to financially, it makes sense to do those things before we hit the market rather than discount the price and sell it as is. And here's why. Again, when the market was hotter than it is now, people were willing to overlook the fact that it needed a little work so long as you discounted the price kind of in relation to how much that would cost. Now, they have more choice. And if they're going to go through the process of renovating something, they're also going to be charging you for their time, at least more so than when the market was really hot. And if they didn't make an offer to buy it, someone else was going to. It really kind of revolves around the fact that we as a market, the fear of loss among buyers is diminishing. That feeling that a buyer gets when they walk through the house that says, this is great. I like the price. I like the layout. I like everything about it. We need to make an offer before somebody else does. Now that tune is kind of changing a little bit. It's, hey, it's a great house. We're going to think about it. We're going to run some numbers, we'll pray on it, sleep on it, whatever. They're taking a little bit more time. There's not as much pressure to get something in immediately. And I will also say, just as a little side note here, that if you know it's the one, if you know that you've walked through the house that you want to live in, make the offer. Sleeping on it, I understand, but the old adage goes, if you want to sleep on it, you might not sleep in it. You could lose that deal. And you have to just determine whether it's worth it or not. And that's why you have a good relationship with a real estate agent, because they understand what you're looking for. They understand what you want to accomplish. They can be that voice of reason. They can also at times be that voice of motivation. Hey guys, this is exactly what you're looking for. We've already seen 30 other homes that didn't have all of these things, not at this price, not in this location. What is it about this house that is making you not want to move forward? And by the way, as a listing agent, when somebody hires me, you want me doing that for you when I'm talking to other real estate agents. You want me to be a salesman for you as well as a consultant to you, if that makes sense. So I want to continue this discussion about, if you're having trouble with finding the buyer, what do you do? If you tried putting your property on the market, let's say sometime last year, and it didn't work out, and you don't want to have this process happen again, where you put it on the market, you get some showings, you never get an offer, and then it just doesn't really go anywhere. I want to talk about a few other things. I want to talk about marketing. I want to talk about motivation on both sides, the agent side and the seller side. And I want to talk about what happens if you just decide to keep and rent it out. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. And again, if you want to reach out to me to talk more about real estate, my number is 843-400-8009. That's my cell. Call or text that number, 400-8009, or visit us online at listingsincharleston.com. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Find Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.